You won't believe this. I got a call from a young lady called Natasha. She was about to have a baby and she wanted to get the house all nice and ready. She had a dad come round to measure to fit some blinds, but whilst he was measuring up, he noticed that the underside of the window soffit was all cracked and loose. So he said it's probably best not to start touching that, and instead he fitted a curtain pole. Natasha then told the landlord about the loose plaster and the cracks, and instead of being thankful, he blamed her and her dad and said it was down to them drilling. He told her that he was going to send someone round to fix it and she was going to be footing the bill.
Okay, so this is what we've got. We've got a timber lintel, and what the old boys used to do was put a little timber strip across, like this, every so far, and then nail the laths across it. And what that would do then was, it'd give the plaster a little bit of space to be able to ooze and mushroom behind the laths to get a good key to it. So now, what we're going to do is take all of this out and replace it with wood.
He also said to her that she's lucky that he wasn't kicking her out because no one had given her permission to start drilling holes and fitting curtain poles. So when I came round to look at the job, I said it's probably not best for me to do it as it might make things worse without his permission. So I ended up giving him a phone call, and the landlord said in the end, yeah, it's fine if I do the job for her, but she has to pay for it and he won't be contributing a penny towards it. Natasha said to me that she just couldn't understand why he was being so mean to her when all she was trying to do was make the house nice. What do you think? Was she in the wrong for fitting the curtain pole?
So I had some off-cuts of plasterboard in my van. Not the nicest of stuff, but we're going to just use it as packers. And here's the conundrum that we've got. It'd be lovely to just plasterboard straight on top of this and through here. But the problem is, some of this is lower than the timber. So we have to pack this down. Not only that, we've also got to make sure that we meet at least the top of the window frame, because the less work for the next guy, the best. Because we could just clean all that up and then someone has to come along and put a plastic trim in, but then someone's going to do the plastic trim, whereas if I just build it down to get over this, it's not much further to build down to bring it to at least the top of the window frame, and then everyone's happy. So we're going to pack this down with some plasterboard first.
All she wanted to know from me was how much this was going to cost. Natasha had saved some money up to buy the curtains. She said, I've got some money there, but I need to know what your bill is, because if it's more than what I've saved up for the curtains, then I'll have to borrow some from my parents. Now another thing was as well, the landlord had told me he wanted this exactly the same as how it was. So therefore, I couldn't skim it smooth, it had to go back with like an Artex stipple finish.
So now what I'm going to do is a little bit of magic. We've got a timber bead at the front here that can screw to this. We've got this plasterboard packer here, which will take a packer, which we can actually stick to, and we've got the top of the window frame that we're going to work off. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put a piece of plasterboard across. It's going to sit on top of the frame. It's going to be screwed up tight to this timber bead here, and it's going to be stuck with foam adhesive to this, and that way we're getting exactly the right thickness, because trying to get a packer to go exactly the right thickness is a bit difficult if it's not perfectly straight, and ultimately we need this margin to stay the same right the way across, because that's when you look at the window it looks spot on. So that is going to fit in there on top of the window frame ever so slightly, like so, and screwed up tight at the front there.
Basically, the soffit was level, but the window wasn't. Now I'm not a window fitter, so I don't really know how to adjust window frames, especially once they're fitted. So instead what I'm going to try and do is, I'm going to make all of this look right by keeping all of the margins the same. You can see there where the window frame drops.
This board is wanting to kick up a little bit here, so we know there's foam on the back of it. I've just put some foam above the top of the frame there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send a screw through to hit the brickwork and push the board down until it sets, like this. See, I've just used the thread of the screw to push the plasterboard down, because the tip of the screw is pressed into brickwork, which pushes that back on itself. And that way, all I'm concerned about is making this margin look the same right the way along. Now with these old houses, Everything's probably a little bit out. The lintel will be a little bit out, the window might be a little bit out. But as long as we can make the margins look the same, it'll look nice. The SPR's just gone on. We can see exactly where it is because it's pink. This has basically set this foam now so that it is screw out. That board's going to stay still. I'm going to cut off that bit of excess foam there. Just scrimming this because there's timber inside there. Now we've covered it in SPR to try and waterproof it because we don't want that timber to get damp and swell up and then the plaster to set and then that to shrink because it puts a crack. So we're doing everything we can to try and minimise the risk of that happening. Now, in an ideal world, we'd take the timber bead out, but I know from experience that will not come out without all of this coming off. And all we're here to do is just to fix this up, not to start taking the whole wall back to brick and starting again. The corner was originally bull-nosed with a timber bead. I thought it would be nice to fit a nice new angle bead and give it a nice sharp corner so it looks nice and fresh. And that's it, the preparation's done. It's ready to match the patterning. Now when it comes to matching patterns, it's almost impossible to patch Artex perfectly, but I think I can get a really close match. Another thing, Artex is really hard to get hold of, but I reckon I can do a real good job just with board finish. The first thing I need to do though is build everything out flat. I need to fill out around this bead and make everything flat and smooth, ready to receive the stipple pattern. I'll let that firm up just a little bit and then we're going to do our best to match this sort of pattern. We've added some water to this. And we're going to mix this now fairly wet. Now, it is easier to use an Artex stipple pad, but not many places sell them anymore, and they're quite difficult to get hold of. Little trick when you're trying to cut under cloth. Just put it over the front of your trowel like that. And you can get right up into the plaster without digging into it. It was at this bit that I told Natasha she didn't have to pay me anything. She can use the money to buy the curtains that she wanted,
and it's because of you guys that watch these videos that I can afford to do this for her. She wouldn't take no for an answer though, God bless her. She insisted on giving me at least 20 quid so I can go and have a few pints. That's it, all done, cleaned up. We're just going to take up this carpet protector and we are done.